Some people would ask me for my top tips for depression, and that really does depend on the kind of depression you're experiencing, the reasons you feel depressed. But as a general principle, always think your body, your psychology, what's going on in your mind, and your social behavior. So think of top tips for your body. The first thing is taking the bodily experience of depression seriously. Now, some people do benefit from antidepressants, but many people, particularly if you have the more mildly forms of depression, I don't like that term, but what it means is that you're not at the level of being incapacitated in bed or something. Antidepressants aren't the first choice. Paying attention to your diet, getting exercises, trying to get out and about. There's quite a lot of evidence now that if you can get out into nature, that can be helpful. Learning to develop your social context can be helpful. So that all of those body-focused approaches can be very helpful. Some people find certain supplements helpful. And again, you can maybe go and see a nutritionist and see if they can help you. Then in terms of your psychology, just be aware of what's going on in your mind, because what goes on in your mind can go on in your body. And in an earlier question, another question, talked about the way we think about things can have an impact on our bodies. So paying attention to, if I was to give my thoughts to somebody else, put them in somebody else's mind, would it make them depressed or would it make them happy? So if I'm thinking negatively about myself in the future, I could think to myself, well, if somebody else was to think this, if I took my thoughts out and put it in their mind, what would happen to them? So when you begin to realize that some of the ways that you're thinking and maybe ruminating are not your fault, remember, you don't choose to have them, but if they sit in your mind, they really are going to make things much more difficult for you. Then it's learning to direct your attention away from them. And there are many ways you can do that, such as change of activities, maybe do things that will remove you from that rumination, go out for a walk or whatever. And then also pay attention to ways of thinking that are likely to be helpful. If you wanted to help your friend or help somebody who was depressed, how would you help them? What would you say to them? What would you like them to be able to think? If you could help them, what would you like to be able to help them think? What would you like to be able to help them see their lives and their world in a different way? Because that will give you clues as to what might help you. Also, socially, behavior is very important in depression because we change our behavior in depression. We become more withdrawn. We do less, not more. And so it's very important then to try to begin to build in things into your life that you, at least you used to enjoy. Maybe taking more time out, maybe going for more walks, maybe phoning up friends, taking up a hobby or retaking up a hobby. In my case, if I get a little bit down, I sometimes realize I haven't really been doing things that have been much fun. I've been too absorbed by work. So I have to stop and try as best I can, start to do things again that I like. So I like to play guitar, for example, but I can go weeks without playing because I've got too absorbed in work. So make sure then that when you have these kinds of depressions, change your behavior. Begin to focus on behaviors that have the potential to be rewarding and pleasurable to do. Don't just stick with the things that you have to do and getting very tired with the process of doing them.